And something that's been a real thorn in President Trump's side this second term has been the handling of the Epstein documents. And Susie Wiles thinks that Attorney General Pam Bondi completely whiffed. Those were her words when it came to the handling of the Epstein documents. And she said that this could potentially cost Republicans, those new voters who came and supported Trump because they thought that there was going to be this full transparency when it came to the release of the Epstein documents and all of the information surrounding Jeffrey Epstein. Do you think that what Susie Wiles said here, do you think that's going to change anything we see from this administration when it comes to how they react or handle any information regarding Jeffrey Epstein?
I mean, in a lot of ways, the Epstein files is it's the dog that caught the car, and what do you do with it now? Trump and a number of other people in his circle very loudly campaigned on this topic and made a lot of promises. And both Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel and others in the administration made a lot of very big promises that they have not been able to keep, or that they have very visibly dragged their feet on providing. Um, and again, this is one of those things where the president doesn't want to lose face and fire any of these people, because that's conceding the point that he screwed up and somebody he appointed screwed up. But if these people leave on their own, like we're getting, news reports just this week that Dan Bongino is cleaning out his office, the FBI deputy director. He's another one that made a lot of claims about the Epstein files, pushed a lot of conspiracy theories, and said a lot of stuff on his podcast. And then once he got in, suddenly was not able to, find all the, smoking guns that he was sure were there. He's leaving on his own. So that's not Trump conceding anything. If, Susie Wiles saying these things in such a very public way is possibly a hint to Attorney General Pam Bondi that she may want to consider making her own exit and finding an excuse to leave as well, and save Trump the trouble of having to fire her and admit that he messed up. So that to me sounded like a signal to Bondi more than anything.
And so essentially what you're saying is, I know that the fallout from Anthony Scaramucci, he survived one Scaramucci, which I believe was 11 and a half days.
Yeah, I think that was it. I was trying to remember. I was like, it was 10 days or 11 days. Yeah.
Yeah, less than 2 weeks. And because he thought he was off the record, he was not. And he just laced into some of his colleagues. You don't think that this was a moment where she thought she was off the record, right?
No, there's not been that claim of that. And again, to go back to what you said earlier about this claim that she was taken out of context, go back and look at those quotes. I would encourage people to read the article and read the quotes and ask yourself, what context could change the meaning of this sentence? Now, it's highly likely that over the course of these 11 interviews, there's stuff that didn't make it to the article. 99% of the time when you interview somebody, you don't include every word they say just because of space. You're not going to write a 50,000 word article every single time. So there probably were things that were left out. There probably were flattering things that she spoke about the president and her colleagues. There probably were things she bragged about that were positive, but were just the sort of like generic things that they've already talked about that are old news at this point. It's not news for a member of the administration to say that the president is wonderful. That's not news. That's not interesting. It is interesting when the White House chief of staff says that the vice president is a conspiracy theorist. It is news when the chief of staff says that she specifically advised them against pardoning the most violent of the January 6th rioters. That is new. That is novel. That is unexpected. That's interesting. So this idea that there's something taken out of context or something defamatory, I've seen, Mike Lee and some other people posting stuff like that. It's laughable. Quoting you accurately is not defamation. Not printing every single word that you spoke to a reporter is not defamation, is not taking you out of context. But again, judge for yourself. I would encourage your audience to go read the article and ask yourself, is there any context? Is there any new information that would change the meaning of these quotes? And not just from Susie Wiles, but the ones from the rest of the people that were interviewed as well, who said a lot of interesting things on the record as well.